Welcome to Veterans in Transition, where we promote the veteran community. Each week, we travel around the region highlighting veteran-related news, issues, and events. We tell you a story.
Veterans in Transition is sponsored by HireVeteransFirst.com, Jelani Consulting, and Village Connector Community.
So before we get started with the panel discussion, just a quick reminder to use social media today. The hashtag is hashtag WVR20. So please, share your opinions as we go through the panel discussion. So next we have our panel discussion, which we moderated by Deborah Harmon-Pugh. Deborah Harmon-Pugh has served as the president and editor-in-chief of the Healthy Caregiver Community Foundation since 2000. In 2009, Ms. Harmon-Pugh was appointed to serve as national campaign chair of Women Veterans Rock Advocacy Campaign. The campaign is dedicated to serving America's transitioning women veterans and military families in the areas of housing, employment, education, financial stability, and health and wellness. Under her leadership, Women Veterans Rock has launched 5 signature workforce and leadership development programs for women veterans. The campaign is serving and referring for service over 1,500 women veterans and military families in the community-based supportive services each year. The Women Veterans Rock community has grown to over 12,000 supporters and partnering organizations through its national affiliate network since 2010. Deborah Harmon-Pugh is a recipient of many business and service awards, including Pennsylvania's 50 Best Women in Business, Business Philadelphia Magazine 100 People to Watch, SBA Minority Business Advocate of the Year, Small Business News Public Policy Advocate of the Year, the Washington, D.C. Veterans Vetty Award, and the Susan G. Komen Women's Champion of Change Award. She is a powerhouse, she is a trailblazer, and while it's a tall order, she has been given your vote of confidence to work with military women. Please welcome Ms. Deborah Harmon-Pugh.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Before we get started with this afternoon's panel, I'm going to ask Ms. Krista Jones to stand again, and let's give her a round of applause for the amazing work that she's done here today. Now, ladies, don't go anywhere, Krista. That was good, but it was not great. Thank you. That sounds like the Women Veterans Rock we all know and love. This afternoon, we're going to embark on our panel discussion, and I am just thrilled to be in the presence of these amazing women who are doing incredible things in public leadership. And I'd like to be able to start with having each one of them say a little bit about themselves. And the reason why I'm asking them to share something about themselves, because one, they can introduce themselves in a way that they can talk about the things that they are most proudest of. So I'm going to go down, starting here on my immediate right, with Dr. Betty Mosley Braun, have her tell you a little bit about who she is, and then we're going to go down the panel. Once we go through our introductions, I'm going to begin to ask them some questions. I want to remind you that this is not a monologue. We are here as a delegation, and if you have questions or comments, we'd like for you to be able to include them. If in fact we find that we need to move on, we will lovingly switch gears and move on to the next piece. But in the meantime, I'd like to start by introducing our amazing, esteemed guest panelist.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'm Betty Mosley Brown, and I'm the acting director, Center for Women Veterans. Center for Women Veterans is part of VA. We have a small staff, and our whole mission has to do with policies and procedures throughout VA for women veterans. What you should also know about me is I'm a devil dog. Hoorah! That's right. So I was planted at Parris Island in 1978 before some of you got high heel shoes. And so I'll tell you some more stories, but I'm honored to be here. In fact, these are all my friends, so I look forward to answering questions with them.
I did not get the opportunity to send a bio, so if you did not see my bio, like I said, I am every woman. I served in the United States Army, and I mean Army, yes. I went into the military as a private E1 and worked my way up the ranks. I was a drill sergeant and a Black Hawk pilot prior to being discharged. And so here I am. But that's a long journey, and so I only had a couple of minutes, so I'm going to pass the baton.
Hi, everybody. Well, I'm Diane, and I started out in the Women's Army Corps in 1976.
That's something.
Yeah, I don't know how many of us are left, but anyway. And I also went in as an E1. I only actually managed to do one tour because of the policies that were in place at the time. I went in thinking I was going to make a career, and that actually didn't happen. So I've always been disappointed in that. But I'm also a mother. I have 4 children, 2 of whom have served, 1 who is still serving. And for the last 4+ years, I've been working for AMVETS, which is another VSO. Earlier we heard Congresswoman Gabbard mention IAVA. I see we have a member of the American Legion here. There are lots of VSOs. So I wanted to say something when she was just talking about IAVA, when she has the Legion and AMVETS in the room, but I held my tongue. But you know, one thing that you guys can do, somebody was asking, what can we do right now? And one of the most important things that I think women veterans can do is to join a VSO, because I'm telling you, they are male organizations. I'm the only female director at AMVETS, and when I go to our national meetings, even when I'm wearing my cover that says I'm the National Legislative Director, I have people who think I'm a member of the Ladies Auxiliary because I'm a woman. They don't think I'm a veteran. And that really bugs me. So we need to take those organizations and pump some fresh blood and a new perspective in. So I would encourage you to look around in your community, see who's there, and join them. And I've got a lot to say, but we'll let Nancy talk for a little bit.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nancy Glowacki. I am an Army veteran. I enlisted at about the age of 21, and for me, the military was a way to escape a very poor socioeconomic background and to go to school. So I came in enlisted, eventually got a commission through ROTC. I was a reservist. And during that time, like many of you, mobilized after 9/11, et cetera, I was medically separated in 2005 due to some pretty severe injuries. And so, of course, that was a terrifying period in my time. I was actually able to obtain employment with the VA right out of the service through a small pilot at that time. Before we had these internships for wounded warriors, they had a very small pilot. I think there were 13 of us. And got my first job that way. I've been in the employment for veterans field now for 10 years. And so whereas my initial focus was disabled veterans and wounded warriors, my focus today is women veterans. So I currently serve as the Women Veteran Program Manager at the Department of Labor, Veterans Employment and Training Service. And it's frankly the best job I've ever had because I'm so, it's just so motivating to be at events like this with all of you.
You've had an opportunity to meet these wonderful people on our panel. Now, panelists, I want you to meet our audience. Now, these ladies have come here. Many of them have graduated from the Women Veterans Civic Leadership Institute. They are representatives of the networks that we have around in many states. We have North Carolina and Pennsylvania, New Jersey and Delaware, and of course the District of Columbia and Maryland. And if I missed anyone, my apologies. I'd like to be able to open the floor up to you. You've learned about the kind of expertise and the leadership that's here. You have an opportunity as a delegation as a whole and as individuals to ask questions directly. So it's not just the women that are here. We have these lovely cadets in the audience. So if you have questions, so I'm going to open the floor up to questions. And if you have questions, I'm going to ask if you would come to this microphone. So we're going to take the first question. And for those of you who have questions following that, we'll ask if you'll please stand in line behind them.
Thank you so much for providing us a positive depiction of what a veteran does after military service. How is it that we have all of these programs that are designed to hire veterans? We have the work, we see all the work fairs. We see all of those things publicized, but once we're there, we're not actually employed. As veterans, we have been responsible, I know for almost 3 decades, I have been responsible for the food of veterans, the health care of veterans, the lives of veterans. Every aspect of our lives is what we perform for one another in the military. Yet, when we transfer that to society as less than 1% of people, how is it that then we're then dropped off at the door and then not able to continue taking care of one another?
I think part of the problem is that many of the people that are involved in these programs, certainly not the people that we have here, but there are many others, they do not understand the experience, they don't have a good understanding of what you've done. You could be a company commander and have, 20,000 troops under your leadership, and you could be responsible for a $10 billion budget. But when you get out into the civilian world, if you're not dealing with a veteran, they don't know what a company commander does. They don't understand your experience. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is one of the biggest problems that veterans have in trying to find jobs in the civilian community.
Well, I was going to say, I think that that's a great response about they don't understand about the transferability of skills. That's the reason why it becomes incumbent upon us, and that's what you said in your introduction, how important it is for us to become involved in veteran service organizations. Now, I know you all love and adore Women Veterans Rock, and that's just one veteran service organization. We have many organizations that's represented, and we have to be able to have some clarity and some sincerity in the voice that we bring to the table. And consistency and diligence is very important too. So I think that to be able to have people recognize this gap that continues to exist, and then it becomes incumbent upon us, like Betty suggested earlier, when those opportunities are there, we have to fill in the gap and give voice to it. And you have to remember, more important than even belonging to a veteran service organization, it is a 4-letter word, and it begins with the V. It's what, ladies? Vote. V-O-T-E. Vote. You have an opportunity to vote in representatives that represent your interests and your issues. You also have the power to vote them out who don't represent your issues and interests. This is not a partisan statement. This is a statement that is directed to all citizens. We need to be a part of the process, and voting is the most important way to do that.
That's all for this edition of Veterans in Transition. We encourage you to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. If you have a story idea, reach out to us at vetsintransition.com. Remember, we all have a story to tell. Until next time.